I'm Jenny Robertson, founder of the On Purpose Woman Global Community and founder and publisher of On Purpose Woman magazine. This is the speaker portion of our Connections After Hours gathering of the On Purpose Woman Global Community. Dr. Carla Johnston speaks on aging in purpose. She's a board-certified clinical nutritionist, certified health coach, author, and speaker focused on expanding the conversation on women and aging. In addition to her private practice, Carla started a membership group called Dynamic Decades, which was created for women aged 60 and older who wish to age in health, happiness, and purpose. Carla has earned her doctorate in clinical nutrition, an MS in herbal medicine, and an MA in applied sociology. And you can find out more about her at drcarlajohnston.com, and her website is also in the text of this video. Carla, thank you so much for being with us tonight.
Thank you, Jenny. I appreciate the opportunity. It's good to be here.
Okay, and you're on.
Hello, and thank you so much for the opportunity. I just walked away from some incredible conversations, and I want to start by just repeating, what is your purpose? What's the first thing that comes to mind when you think of life's purpose? And what's the first thing that comes to mind with aging? So no matter what age you are, if you're in the 20 decades, 30 decades, 40 decades and up, what comes to mind when you think of aging? Are you one of those people that kind of roll your eyes and go, oh, yeah, aging? Not a topic I'm really excited to discuss. Or are you one of those people that applies to curiosity and go, I wonder what that looks like for me? So those are two areas that I like to focus on. And you might ask yourself, well, what does health have to do with purpose? Well, as it turns out, a lot. Research is really clear that when we are connected to what we are and where we fit in the world, our connectedness and our thoughts that go above ourselves, that actually impacts my ability to sleep. Those that are connected to purpose tend to sleep better. They tend to move better. They tend to make different food choices. They tend to reach out when they need assistance. And it brings satisfaction when they are contributing something that is going out to a greater purpose. So let's kind of take a look at some of the lens here. We're going to have some fun. You are allowed to laugh, you're allowed to smile, and you're allowed to have fun. Sometimes when we talk about aging and purpose, it can seem heavy, and I don't want that for this particular talk. I want us to think about, if we look through different lenses, how the same information coming in could be handled differently. So we're going to set the stage, and we're going to just kind of decide that we're going to have some fun. So when I think of purpose, I think about purpose being who you are. And what you do with that is what you do. And what do I mean by that? So by nature, if I'm a nurturer, anything that I do, my job or my volunteer work or how I fit in community, is going to be a reflection of that nurturing. It could also be that I am a listener that listens to understand, which again allows me to shift and move through the world with whatever I do. That is my purpose. And we talked about some amazing stories of how women are connecting and how they're disrupting what we think, right? I always think of the square peg in a round world and how wonderful that is. So we don't have to say, well, that's the way it is, and how do I fit in? Heck no, I'm going to figure out how I need to do it and then make everything else fit into that. And that's how we have these amazing good ideas, right? So our purpose is who we intrinsically are. And then what we choose to do with that is how we can show up in the world. And that can change over time. I can say that I'm a different person in my 60s than I was in my 20s. And through life experience and challenges and successes, sometimes we forget the successes, that can shape and mold how I'm going to show up in the world and how I want to contribute. I mentioned earlier that often we think of women in purpose and important people in purpose, people that have made a difference. It's on this mass scale. And I say that when you're in purpose, you can change one other person's life. That we can literally be moving and shifting something for someone else, including ourselves. So if I'm staying in my purpose of what I need to do for me, whatever that looks like in that moment in time, and shift through a challenge or celebrate a success or reach out to someone else, that allows me to be an example for those people that are around me. And the people that are around me are an example for me. So for me, this is about how one becomes the many and the many are all part of the one. So there's a couple of constants in the world. So every one of us is different. I look through the lens in health of 9 different things, nutrition and movement and sleep. And I've actually added life purpose to that because it can be something that seems like an offshoot of like an occupation. And that isn't always the case, really, in any of the cases that I work with when we connect to that. The one constant we all have is time. All of us are within a 24-hour clock, as far as I know, unless someone else has another clock I'm not aware of. So we all have 24 hours in a day, and we are all going to experience change. The one thing that's constant, ironically, is change. So how do we adapt to change can be critical to how we're going to move through the world. So we're going to look at when the curve balls come in, because I don't know about you guys, but not all the balls that come into my court are straight. There are sometimes curves and sometimes surprises, which I'm sure a lot of you guys have had. So I can duck and weave, and sometimes it's like, great, that missed me. And then other times I can put on my catcher's mitt and take it and decide where I'm going to throw it. So I get to decide, looking at the lens, and how robust I feel and how connected I feel and how healthy I feel on when those curveballs come in, what I'm going to do with that. Am I going to bob and weave? Am I going to ask my neighbor? Am I going to yell 4 so the person behind me doesn't get the ball in their direction? What is my stance and what lens am I looking through? Now, I'm laughing and making light of it. When we're in a challenge, it isn't always so easy to do that. When we're going through a difficult time, it can seem like that is the encompassing thing for everything. It's almost like I'm wearing glasses of challenge. And how do I get through that? Well, one, I can ask someone to help me remove the glasses to see something objectively. Or I can write some things down to really check in and say, is that really true now for me? And is there something I need to do about it? Or is there just something I need to be about it? One thing I've learned on my 60 plus years on this earth is that I am a fantastic human doer. And I continue to learn how to be a human being, to stop and take a breath and figure out, am I bobbing and weaving or am I catching? Am I in the middle of a challenge that I might need some objective voice? Or is it that maybe taking a quick walk to give myself some grace, that it will come to me? And the word flow and energy has been used so much this meeting, which is just a phenomenal way and a reminder for me how important that is for me and for everyone that I'm surrounded by, to stay in that energetic field of possibility. So for me, that allows for and I've talked about many times, the both in the end. So it's not either or. Either I'm going to catch the ball or I'm not going to catch the ball. It's I intended to catch it and either I missed it and it moved past, or I decided not to catch it. It's just allowing for all of the other possibilities. So we're going to embrace change. Easier said than done, depending on the change. If I want to change my sweater to a different color, I like that change. If someone's going to give me something new to do with a deadline, not so pleased with that. And then the other changes that can happen to us that are unexpected can be even more challenging. So if my purpose is to nurture, if my purpose is to listen, how do I adapt that to the circumstance? And that is to get quiet, check in, and seek resources if I need to seek resources. And that may be to phone a friend, or it may be to call in other people. The other piece of purpose And this was also something that, ironically, the group that we talked with earlier today was a precursor to this, and that's to find joy. When I use aging, I think I call it the ABCs of aging. Always be curious. Curiosity inspires possibility. So if I am looking for joy and I am in the middle of a blow up challenge, I may not find joy in that particular minute. It actually is a pet peeve of mine when someone shares something really difficult and the offering at that time is to put a positive spin on it for someone. While that could be helpful, it may not be just in that minute. And to allow someone to just express, I am in the middle of this challenge and I'm not able to see the joy in it right now. I know I'll get there. I know I will see the possibility. I'm experiencing a life shifting health challenge. Oh, you're going to get through that. Oh, it'll be okay on the other side. You just get moving. You just eat better. While on the surface, that could be part of what may shift it and get us to joy at the other end when we get there. Sometimes it's just the most kind and pleasant thing to say, oh, wow, that must really be scary. Thank you for sharing that. I really appreciate that. Is there anything else beside a listening ear that I can do? And then when you're ready, I'm ready to listen. And we're going to share in the joy when we get there. Because we can spend, as humans, a lot of time in the challenge and a little bit of time in the success. It is not uncommon for us to have a to-do list. And we check them off and we do that and we go, okay, now I'm going to rip that off and I'm going to start a new to-do list. Well, my challenge for you as you're going through is to take the to-do list that's finished and place it above the new one so that as you start, you see all of your successes at the top. Because we're really good at telling ourselves what we need to do, the list of all the things we need to do, all of the projects we have going on, all of the activities that we need to do. And my offering is to take a minute and go, I did a lot and that project was great. And I'm going to take that because that is something that I gave to the world. I allowed this to show up in the world. Ah, that feels great. And I'm doing that all on my own. I don't have to, I know we don't all have to post about it. I know some people do like to post about it, and that's cool if you do. It really is about the internal. And that's what, for me, purpose is. Purpose is that internal service, connection of who I am that gets expressed out in the world as I move forward. And that can change because as I move through the world, what I do and how I get affected and how I affect can change. So the other piece is, and I've kind of alluded to it a little bit, and that is laughter. I can look through the lens as I see wrinkles and go, oh, I need a wrinkle cream, or oh, that needs to be done. And I've read tutorials, very lengthy tutorials of how I need to look on camera and how I need to poke my head and the light. And it was overwhelming to me. And what I decided was when I smile, the wrinkles mean that I have been in laughter. That's my story and I'm sticking to it. And I'm inviting you to say, looking through the lens of laughter. So when I look at wrinkles now, I have to laugh because that's what I see. That's the lens that I've trained my eyes and my ears. So when I was in my 20s, was I so concerned about it? In 30s and 40s? It doesn't matter the age. It's just this piece of what lens am I looking through? Am I looking through what needs to be shifted or changed? Or am I looking through the lens of those are laughter lines? Oh, my gray hair is wisdom. Oh, I get that. My boo-boo is just a mistake that I've repeated in the process of learning. When I stay in curiosity, it ends up bringing a smile and joy and possibility, even in the face of a really difficult challenge, because there really is both end. Even in the darkest moments, something can happen that'll pull away and go, that really was kind of funny. Even though I'm upset and mad, that really was kind of funny. So I can do both. I don't have to be all or nothing. And then as I'm kind of wrapping through this particular topic with aging and purpose, the topic that I chose was not aging with purpose. It was aging in purpose, because I believe that's what we're all doing. When we are in community, we are aging in purpose. When we offer something, when we all share, here's what I got out of that, or here's a question that I have, or I read about this and I'm curious how this is impacting on you, or I'm not understanding this. How does this come across for you? Or can you help me with this? Or I know a little bit of something about that. Would you like me to give you some information? That again is that pebble that allows the ripples to expand. And the more expansion, we all kind of connect into each other and one. And for me, community, whether you just show up and you're just not in a space to say anything, and yet you want to be part of the community, I say feeds all of our souls. So everyone doesn't have to say anything to be part of a community and make it different. The energy of being in the room adds to what that commitment is, adds to what the community is, adds to what potential joy is, and the curiosity, which again leads to possibility. So in conclusion, I want to just remind all of us, no matter where you are, no matter what age, whatever decade you are, the beautiful thing is that every single day you wake up, technically, you're aging. So I can make that mean, I'm aging, or I can make that mean, look at all the learning I've taken so far. Look at what I have to look forward to. Look at the lives that I'm impacting through books, through community, through talks, teaching, the occupation that I'm in, my neighborhood, my family, my friends, strangers that I've held the door for today. Seems like a small thing to do. And I've read so many times where it's made a difference for the person that's walked through the door for whatever reason. I also am very much a student of, I have no idea what's going on in someone's life behind their smile. I say many of us are walking around like Academy Award winning actresses. We have no idea that the beautiful smile that we're presenting, what's going on behind the scenes. And so with a listening ear and nurturing, purpose is allowing someone the space and time to do that. And in celebration, that we get to express joy of what is going well, of what learnings we've had, of what opportunities that we have been a part of and that we can bring in for everyone else to join in on. So it isn't always about the singular, it can be about the group, and the group then becomes the singular. So I think what you get what I'm saying, it's just this continuum of life experience that pulls us through, and we can hear and see and experience things differently depending on where we are in the continuum. As I said at the beginning, if I am in joy, everything is joyful. The birds are singing, the sun is shining, my doggy's behaving, everything, dinner's delicious, everything's wonderful. And if I'm in a challenge, it may be more difficult for me to hear the birds singing. And it may be more difficult for me to decide that I can find joy in that moment. And like a wave, it will move along. It isn't static. It is in constant motion, which is what we do. We support each other in constant motion. So for me, aging and purpose is life's experience and how we connect and move through, and what we want to contribute, what we want to leave behind, and also what we want to learn. Because the more we learn, the more we contribute, and what we send out comes back. And so my question back is, what is your purpose, and has it changed for you over time? And I thank you for your listening ear.
Carla, thank you so much. I want to ask everybody to unmute yourselves. In just a moment, we'll all applaud and yell for Carla and thank her for this wonderful talk. I just wanted to mention a quote that I heard years ago, and it goes something like this: "Embrace aging. It's a privilege denied to many." Yeah. So let's hear it for Carla. Unmute, clap, shout, yell.
Yay, Carla. That
Yay,
was wonderful.
awesome. Yes.
Fantastic.
Thank you, Carla,
Really
so
happy to hear
much.
that.
Let
Thank
me
you.
put myself back down here again. I want to thank anyone who's watching this live or watching the replay on our YouTube channel. If you want to join us for one of our Zoom or in-person gatherings, go to my website, opwgc.com, and find out all about our community and the magazine. Also, all of Carla's information is in the text of this video as well. Again, thank you all for watching.